Hi, my name is Solène, and in this video I will show you some of the features you can get by integrating OneLogging and Active Roles together. Active Roles is the place where you would delegate administration, provide permission to your users, so you want to make sure whether you access the Active Roles console or the web interface, every access is secure. We're going to start by logging into the OneLogging platform because this is going to be the central place where everything will happen today. We enter our username or the email address, then our password, and OneLogging will check the security policy that applies to our user profile to see what are the security rules that we need to validate before we can access. And here we can see that we need to validate MFA since we are receiving a push notification on the mobile phone, and we need to validate the push notification with biometrics before we can access our OneLogging portal and all the application we have access to. We're going to start by seeing the protection of your Active Role console using PAM Essentials. PAM Essential is a new feature of OneLogging that is a light PAM solution that will protect the RDP session you need to access your Active Role console. As you can see, I need to validate a different MFA factor, that is the YubiKey, to be able to access the PAM Essential environment and my RDP session. Once the PAM Essential portal appears, I can see I have access to my Active Role console, and I can click on the tile to generate an RDP file that will be validated for only 1 minute, and I don't know the credential to that session. They will be injected directly by PAM Essential, and once my session is timed out, the password will be rotated. Accessing the Active Role console through PAM Essential allow the administrator of the environment to control who can access that console and what permission they will have, and record everything that is happening. On that session, I'm now opening Active Role console, and you will see that as an administrator of the environment, I have a full control permission that allow me to delegate administration on Active Role and fully control the Active Directory. So we want to make sure those type of access are secured and are recorded maybe for auditing purposes. Now that I am signing out the session, we can see in the PAM administration portal that the session has been recorded, and we will see in the dashboard the date and time of that session, who has accessed the session, and what server was accessed, which allow us to review the video of the access to make sure everything done was okay. Now, the second feature is OneLogging MFA, and we want to use OneLogging MFA to secure access to the Active Roles web interface that the user will go through to manage the different permissions, the different users. Let's first log in with Alice, who is an HR employee, and she needs to change the job title of a user. So she's logging to Active Role web interface, but she needs to authenticate through OneLogging. And again, we will check the security policy, and we see that she's also receiving a push notification on her phone, and she also needs to provide number matching for a strong authentication factor. Once this MFA factor has been validated, Alice will be able to access Active Roles and perform the tasks she needs to. She only has access to some part of the directory, and she can only do some tasks because that's what she has been provided by the Active Roles administrator. So she's gonna simply open the user she needs to work on, and we can see most of the fields are grayed out. She can only act on some of those fields, and here she can change the job title of that user as this is part of the permission she's been granted. Now we will log out of Active Roles as Alice and log in as John Smith, who is an IT help desk engineer, and we can see that he needs to go through the same process by entering his username, but now the security policy he has been assigned is a passwordless one, so he doesn't need to enter his password. He simply has to validate MFA with push notification and number matching, as well as biometrics. Once the strong authentication factor has been validated, John can access his Active Role console, and as you can see, he has different sets of permission since he is able to create users and create groups in Active Roles. Now, another feature is the integration of active roles into OneLogin SSO portal. If I go to the OneLogin portal, I can see that active roles is also a tile in my portal, which allow an easy access to the platform instead of typing the URL. Finally, the last feature I want to talk about is the ease of onboarding process thanks to Identity Lifecycle Management. John is still in the Active Roles web interface and he needs to create a new user that is joining the company. So using the admin web interface is going to create that user into Active Directory by filling the appropriate fields, first name, last name, email address, and creating those fields will be directly created into OneLogin thanks to a real-time sync. Here we're gonna generate a temporary password. For demo purposes, it never expires, but you get how it works. And then we will set some other fields like company, department, job title, and the office, because it can directly imply the security policy that will be assigned to this new user. Here, this user is a remote worker, so we'll have a different policy than a user working from a corporate office. Now, this user has been created. John can modify the field if necessary, but we are going to log out of OneLogin and Active Roles to log back in as that new user to see that this new user can now start working straight away. He has been created into Active Roles and directly created into Active Directory. The real-time sync has allowed the user to be created into OneLogin as well, and as we can see, the user is recognized and asked to register a new MFA factor to be able to access the portal and the application. Registration process is very simple. The user simply has to open the OneLogin Protect application, scan the QR code, and that's it. The factor is now registered to his profile, and Maxime can access their application. All the applications have been granted access and he has been provisioned into the application that supports provisioning. If you want to know more about those integration and see a proper demo of a OneLogin and Active Roles environment, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to provide you with more information. Thank you for your time and have a nice day.